I was in Paris with my mom in 2019, like December 2019. And then we're in the middle of dinner, bro, and this shit just comes on. Like, yo, I hear my own song in a restaurant in Paris. Like, I'm not signed. I'm not, like, I didn't even have over like 100,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. And my song came on. You know, it was really surreal. Like, it was the kind of shit that, like, it bought me a lot of time, like, in believing in this music shit. I was like, man, like, this is really surreal. So that's definitely been the coolest moment I think I've ever had.
Welcome back to the Creative Hills, everybody. Today, we got Queens very own, the legend, the myth, the mystery, Hadji.
Yo, what's good, guys?
Honestly, bro, is it Hadji Gaviota or Gaviota?
Gaviota, yeah.
Gaviota.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, I think you got that off of like a Mexican soap opera, right?
No, it was I was actually like standing in the ocean in Cuba, and I was like,
oh, shit.
I was like, yo, Gaviota is kind of a fire word. I think I'm just gonna make that my fake last name.
Wait, where do you even get that word from, though?
I don't know. It just means seagull in Spanish. Right?
Oh shit.
Yeah. So I was just like, that's a fire word. I like that word. And I just felt like rock stars had like a fake last name that was cool.
Boom.
And I was like,
I'm trying to be a rock star. This is a rock star name. Fuck it.
Because Hadji is my middle name, so I always use that for music. And it was just Hadji for a minute. And then I was like, I kind of need a fake last name to make this a little more like, you know?
Yeah.
And I went with Gaviota. Like, I added it in like maybe 2017. But I thought of it like 2 years before that. And
Before that, you already went by Hadji?
Yeah, I was just sitting on it, waiting for the time.
Boom, and now we're here. We're here now.
Now we out here, man.
We're out here. Los Angeles. You've been here for like what? Like a few days now?
Yeah, I came in on Thursday, so it's been about a week. Yeah,
about almost. A week. And since then, how's your experience been out here?
Yo, it's been awesome, honestly. I love it out here. Like, weather is great. The food is great. I'm conquering the street taco world. I've had like some of the best ones I've ever had in my life. Like, I had some fucking amazing tacos yesterday, and I thought I would never top them. And then I had some equally amazing tacos today, and I just don't know what to do with myself.
You said you're a big Mexican food guy?
Yeah, I love Mexican food, man. I think it's got to be top 5 countries, like, cuisine for sure.
What's your number one?
I mean, I don't know. I think they're all in the same tier. It's like picking which color Ferrari you want to drive. You know, it's like they're all gonna be kind of fast. But I would say like it's like Mexico, Japan, probably like Italy. I'm biased on Greece, but Greece. Yeah, I don't even know what would be the 5th, but there's some good candidate. Maybe like Thailand, some shit like that, or India.
Thai food. Thai food's fire.
Yeah, Thai food goes crazy. Yeah, pad Thai is fire. Everything you order off a Thai menu is fire. I was in Thailand once too, and I was just eating like just random shit, and everything I had was amazing. Like, I'd never missed once, you know.
Never once. So for everybody watching right now, who's Hadji Gaviota?
Yo, I mean, I'm me, man. I'm like I don't know. I guess you would call me like, some people call me an indie artist. Some people know me as more of like a hip hop artist. I don't bother by that. Some people use like the Spotify anti-pop word. I'm cool with that one. Really, whatever gets you here, I'm cool with it. And then I just gotta make sure you stay around. But yeah, I'm an artist from Queens, New York. I make music. It's fun. It's cool. And shit, man. Like, appreciate it. I don't really know.
No, yeah. I remember I was actually listening. I went on your SoundCloud earlier. I was like, let me try and dig up some old stuff. Let's see what you got.
Oh god.
And I actually ran into your song Intermission, and I was like, okay, like that sounds completely different than everything else you have. And I was like, this guy, I can tell you grew up in New York. It sounds very, very. It's the most rap shit you actually have.
Definitely.
Like Joey Badass, more like I don't know, just as rap as possible, and
for sure.
And honestly, it wasn't bad. Like, it was actually really fucking good. I was like, okay, like this guy he's been able to rap for a minute now.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that was I probably started rapping. I had a mixtape in like 8th grade. So that's not a part of that. It was really bad, but it was so bad that I deleted it by like the 9th grade, and I couldn't find any evidence of it when I wanted to find it. Like, I was so good at deleting it that it's just gone. Like, if you can find it, like, you're better than me. But yeah, so I started out as pretty much just straight up just rapping. Like around like college. So that song came out in 2015. Or I recorded it in 2015 at least. I think it came out in like 2016. that was like right around when I started rapping. It was fun. It was like the first, like, I grew up listening to hip hop. I grew up listening to a lot of different stuff, but
What was the first song you remember listening to, like hip hop wise or rap wise?
oh, it was probably some Eminem shit because I'm white. My parents didn't want me having Eminem in the house. They're like not like strict or anything, but
Yeah. Like,
I don't know.
What is this nonsense?
I think my dad just didn't like it.
What did your
Probably thought
parents
it was
listen to?
ass. My dad listens to a lot of like British punk rock. Like I grew up listening to a lot of like The Clash, like The Jam, the Ramones, who are from Queens. But yeah, it was like a lot of like punk rock. My dad, but they have pretty diverse like taste in music. I remember we shared an iPod, like so we had like a whole like like we shared an iTunes library when I was a kid. They got me an iPod in like the 3rd grade.
Which iPod was it?
I had like the OG shit, like the fat one. With, like, it didn't even have like a click wheel. Like it was like a wheel with like the 4 buttons on top. There weren't really buttons. You just like kind of touch them. Like you couldn't click them.
Did it have a screen on it?
It had a screen on it though. Yeah. It was like the OG. It was like they didn't even like name anything after. It was just the iPod. Like, it was like the OG shit. I was in like 3rd or 4th grade. But I was super into music, so that was like how they supported that, I guess. And no, they had some cool stuff. And thinking of like, if I think of like the rap CDs my dad had, he had like Diggable Planets, which is kind of like some like real like boom bappy kind of shit. He had the Machiavelli album, like the Tupac album.
Oh shit.
He had the Chronic. I remember that one for sure.
He was fucking with West Coast artists.
He had Doggy Style. Yeah, I guess so. I never thought about it like that, but that is like some straight up West Coast shit.
Seriously.
Yeah. There was a little bit of rap. There was like some Sade. I think it might have been my mom's, but that was always cool. Yeah, it was like some Al Green shit like that. Like I was like really lucky to have this iPod when I was a kid because I just had a ton of different influences to go through. But yeah, when I first I feel like with making music, I felt like rap was really accessible to make. Like, because in order to make like the kind of music that I make now, I need to have a better understanding of like chord theory and melody, and I need to know how to record vocals and fix vocals so that they sound good and shit. Like when I approached rap music, I was like, oh, I just find a beat and then I just rap on it. It was just a lot more like, and that doesn't mean that making good rap music is easier than making good anything else.
Yeah.
It's just like when it comes to like, as a beginner, like I felt like the lane to get there was easier, or it just kind of was like what I wanted to do,
Were you making remixes back in the day?
I'm trying to think if I ever rapped on another beat like that. I didn't really do that.
No?
Nah, I feel like by like 20, like when I started rapping, like 2014, 15, like that shit was tough. Like I don't remember the last, like only Lil Wayne can get away with that shit, where you just give him a beat and he just kills it. Like there's not a lot of other rappers I want to hear just like rap on someone else's beat.
Yeah.
Like it's a really like precise kind of rapper I want to do that. And it's basically just Lil Wayne, honestly.
Because you said you started rapping in like 8th grade.
Yeah.
So who were you listening to at the
that was the Carter 3. That was
okay.
like
Lollipop.
Graduation, Kanye West, probably still Eminem. I love Ludacris. Ludacris is one of my favorite rappers growing up. He's like super like attention grabbing and shit. I really fuck with TPain heavy when I was I remember being embarrassed being around like my like the kids who only listen to like rock music because I was like, they're never gonna understand why this shit is fire. Because that was back in the days when people were like, auto tune is trash, like all that shit. Even like Jay-Z was doing that. Like it was a tough time to be like TPain, And shout out to him, man, because he's like an architect.
What was your favorite TPain song?
I like Can't Believe It, but I also like the song called Karaoke. That's like DJ Khaled. He's rapping on it. And like DJ Khaled shouting ad-libs the whole time in the background, even though it's like on a TPain album. That shit is crazy. I love that song. I was watching the video the other day, and it's like they have like Kanye West, and they're like standing next to Kanye at the urinal. He's like not even a part of the song. It's so weird. It's like a really bizarre video. Like if someone wants to just go through like a time capsule, they should watch the TPain karaoke video. I really like that one. I liked I'm Sprung. I liked I'm in Love with the Stripper.
Classics.
The way he like bent the guitar on that shit was super fire. I was like, this is the best shit ever. I also liked Mike Jones a lot, and he was on that.
Mike
so I was
Jones.
like, who?
The remix? I'm in Love with a Stripper remix.
Yeah, that shit was legendary, man. I really like ringtone rap. I like the fucking snapping shit. I like them Franchise Boys and Lil Jon and shit, and like Party Like a Rock Star. Like,
oh shit,
I was into everything, man. I've really just been a music nerd my whole life, so it was really fun watching like hip hop evolve and change and shit, and I just really wanted to be a part of it. So
you're from New York. What about 50 Cent?
I love 50. 50's a legend. When I think of New York rappers, like I love 50. I love Nas. I mean all the Queens rappers. 50, Nas, Nicki Minaj, Action Bronson, especially. Action Bronson was cool because it was the kind of rap music I could play with my dad. Because I mean, my dad likes a lot of. My dad's favorite song is BMF by Rick Ross, so it's like he's definitely into like. I think he only likes fat rappers. Now that I think about it, he loves Action Bronson, he loves Rick Ross, and they're very different. And the only thing they have in common really is that they're both fat. But he like Action Bronson will name drop like a '90s like athlete, and my dad would be like, "Oh, did he just say fucking like I'm trying to remember like something like the real like obscure names. He'll be like, he just said that. Like he said Jason Giambi. Like I know who Jason Giambi is, Or like he name drops like diners in my neighborhood and shit because like he's from Queens and it's like, that kind of stuff makes it like super easy to play around my dad. He still has a CD in his car, like the first like Action Bronson album. But yeah, like New York rap was always cool to me. Obviously there's like the Joey Badass, like the little Pro Era wave. Like that was like
that's when you were like in high school, right?
That was right around when I graduated high school. I think me and Joey Badass would be the same. I think we were the same year in high school.
Oh shit.
Not that I like ever interacted with him or anything, but like I think we were around the same age. So like I think that came out right when I was graduating high school.
1999.
Yeah, so it was that. It was like ASAP Rocky and the ASAP Mob shit. ASAP Ferg was around then. Yeah, it was a cool time to be watching like New York music
evolve.
Yeah, so the shit. I went away to school in Philly for college, and I was homesick a lot, so I was listening to a lot more rap music, and like making music was something that I used to like kind of feel like I was at home. So that was like one thing that got me back into it, and then I started taking it seriously. The more and more I got into it, the more and more I wanted to do it. And yeah, shit just kind of evolved from there.
Right off the bat, you started staring at the Nintendo that we have over there.
Yeah.
I saw you peeping. What's it called?
It's fire.
Were you really into games growing up?
I definitely was a big gamer. I had a Game Boy Color when I was maybe like, that was the first system I got. I was like 3 or 4. Cause I have a lazy eye, and I went to the doctor, and they told me that I needed to wear glasses, and I had to put a patch over my other eye like this every day. It wasn't like a pirate patch. It was like these like weird like skin colored ones that you would just like paste on and then rip off and shit. And I had to like read something for like 30 minutes so that my other eye would focus. And the doctor was like, if he has any games that are like reading heavy or whatever, he could play those. And so Pokemon was like a lot of like reading, because it's like just picking through like a map screen and stuff. And so like they were like, yo, make him play Pokemon for like an hour. And I was like, yo, you were the coolest doctor. Yeah, so I played a lot of like Pokemon Silver, Pokemon Gold. But yeah, I was a big gamer growing up. I had a Nintendo 64. Then we went to the GameCube, the PS2 era, and the Xbox 360 era. I lived through all that. And then I don't play video games as much now, but I still do. I keep my Nintendo Switch on me at times, and I have a PS5, so come holler at me if you're in New York.
No, for you, what were like your biggest inspirations? I guess because I see like a lot of, I don't know, I see a lot of inspirations throughout your music videos and everything that I see. Like, where does it all come from? Like, was it movies? Was it video games? What do you mostly see your visuals?
I was a music nerd, man. So a lot of the visual stuff that I like. I do take some stuff from movies. I really got more into visual stuff like in the last like year or so. I've been working with a really dope videographer. His name is Adam Ginsberg. He's the man. He nerds out for video the way that I nerd out for music. And so like working with him has made me gain an appreciation for video because I get like, oh, I'm going to do he'll be like, yo, I'm going to do an angle like this. It's going to be so sick. And like, I'm going to split screen it. Like, he just starts talking fast and he's all excited and shit. The same way that when I'm in the studio, I'm like, yo, we got to do a beat switch. It's going to be like, like, yeah. So he has that same kind of drive, and like that kind of stuff has gotten me super into it. Which has me like watching a bunch of cool stuff, just trying to get inspiration now. So like, I got really into The Sopranos, The Wire. I was watching like all the old HBO shows. I think The Sopranos editing wise is really sick. It's actually a music video. Depends on when this episode comes out. I don't know exactly when the video is coming out, but we did an entire Sopranos parody music video for a song that I'm featured on with one of my homies, and I'm really excited for it because if you've like ever seen The Sopranos, you're gonna love it. It's like very detailed, like, and it's super sick. But yeah, I love like also like Studio Ghibli movies. Were a big influence on me. Just like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like at this point, when it comes to music, like if I don't see a visual with a song, I'm not as excited about it in terms of like putting it out, like of my own stuff. Yeah. It's like I'll make something in the studio, and if I'm like, this sounds cool, but like I can't picture what it sounds like,
Yeah.
I'm not as excited about it.
I admire how much it looks like you're really hustling, bro. Because you put out, how many music videos have you put out in the last year?
I mean, I think every song that I've released that's been like just a solo Hadji release has had a music video since the start of 2020. So like if I go through it, like Hitting Different, we did like a super low budget video, but it was fun. We did one for 46 in Bliss, and then all 7 of the songs on Purgatory had a music video, which was kind of like the centering point of the whole thing. That wasn't something that I set out originally to do, but once I started getting into visuals, I was like, man, like this just makes like it helps me. Like I can put a song out, and then with so many songs out, like I feel like the point will get lost sometimes. Like and the visuals just gives me that much more of a chance to capture somebody, and I want to give all my songs a chance to live, you know. And so I feel like that's really where that inspiration comes from. But yeah, like I can already tell you, like my next project, I've already shot all the videos for it, so it's like we're like I'm pretty sure that's gonna be a thing that I continue throughout, and probably only just improve on.
Do you already have the whole next project laid out? And ready. Everything's ready for it.
Yeah. So it's gonna be like a series of EPs. So I don't have the entire thing done, but I do have the first one entirely done. The first EP is already like just musically finished. It's visually finished, or it's at least being edited. And
how many songs is that gonna be?
4. It's gonna be 4. So it's a little shorter than the last project, but I promise that I'm gonna drop pretty quickly, and I already have songs for the second EP that I'm really excited about, and I'm out here in LA making more of them.
My guy's out here working.
Yeah, I like running like 2 a days on sessions. Like I just love making shit, man. And
How fast does everything come to you? Like, is it just and at what point did it become fast for you? Because I know a lot of people, I think the biggest struggle for a lot of artists out there is the need to overthink every little detail.
Absolutely. That's real as fuck.
And for you, like at what point did you see yourself being like, oh shit, like, okay, I can knock out 2 songs a day compared to taking 2 weeks to write 1 song?
Yeah, so I think that one thing that's helped me is just having great producers around me, because I work with a bunch of different ones. So like if one of them gets burned out, I can just go work with the other one, you know? I just only have to worry about my own energy in that case, which helps a lot. I've also just kind of like, there were times in the past where I had a song idea and I really liked a piece of it, and I was like, no, I can't, I have to finish this song. I have to make this song be exactly what I want it to be. And now like my approach is less to do that. And it's like, yo, if I'm not feeling inspired to finish this exact song, like I can sit on it and just do something else, you know? Like, so I can go wherever my creativity decides to take me, and like as long as I have the work ethic to keep being there, I will have content, you know? I don't have to worry about finishing like this exact song. And so there's been times like on Purgatory, there's a song called Guido Miss Karma, and the Guido section of that song, like I had started that song in like 2017, like literally 2017. Like I hadn't even released something as Hadji Gaviota yet. But when I like originally started that, like Shorty Wanna Ride in the Ride, like that chorus like existed back then. And then like the idea was already created, like it existed. I didn't really have the ability to finish it at that time, but I did later. And because I had already done the work of like creating that idea, it was that much easier to just slap it into something new. And it found a home a little later. So I think like the best advice I can give in that angle is to like go where you're feeling right now. And like you can only like, it's hard to control that sometimes. It's hard to like force yourself to be in a creative space for something that you're not feeling creative about. And if you've made it this far, you probably are a creative person. So you should trust where your energy is going to take you, because it's taking you here. And like, you shouldn't feel like, oh, like X and Y label told me that this part is fire, so I need to make 20 more songs like it, or I need to do this. Like, for fuck that shit. Like, you're only going to be alive for so long. So just follow that creative energy, because honestly, the real joy is like being in the studio making it.
True.
Yeah.
What's the most songs you made in a day?
Me and Mike was like one of my like probably my closest producer. We made 46 in Bliss, Hitting Different, and 44 Spruce in the same day. So that's probably the record. we made a bunch of other shit that day too. But like those, like to have 3 songs that all came out, and like at least for my like discography have like been, you know, some of the top ones, like all in the same day. Like that's definitely like gonna go down in the Hadji history books for me, at least for now. I mean, I'd love to top it, but that's pretty good. Like I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For you, like from this whole experience of making music, what has been like the most memorable or the funnest experience you've had while making music?
So this is kind of like, I feel like I give this one every time, but it was really unique. Like I was in Paris with my mom in 2019, like December 2019, and we went out to dinner, with my cousins because they were studying abroad in the Netherlands, and they like came over to Paris and we like visited them and it was cool. And so we went to dinner at this fancy restaurant and they played my friend's music. This guy, The Second Sex, another really dope Queens artist, and we have a song together. And they played his music, and I was sending him a video. I was like, bro, like I'm in this fancy ass restaurant in Paris and they're playing your music. Like, what are the odds, right? And it was crazy. It was really cool. And the next night, me and my mom tried to go somewhere totally different, and it was really crowded. And we were like, you know what? Fuck this. Let's go to this other place around the corner. We walk into this place. It's owned by the same people as the first restaurant, and they're playing a similar playlist. And in my head, I'm like, yo, what if they have the song that me and The Second Sex have, right? And then we're in the middle of dinner, bro, and this shit just comes on. Like, yo, I hear my own song in a restaurant in Paris. Like, I'm not signed. I'm not, like, I didn't even have over, like, 100,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. I was just out with my mom, like, just eating dinner, and my song came on. You know, it was really surreal. Like, it was the kind of shit that, like, it bought me a lot of time, like, in believing in this music shit. I was like, man, like, this is really surreal. So that's definitely been the coolest moment I think I've ever had.
Hey, shout out to Spotify playlist.
Facts, man. Shout out to the Spotify playlist, man. Shout out to that restaurant. I honestly don't know what it's called, but it was great.
For that, did you have a conversation with your mom about that?
Yeah, I mean, she was there. She was freaking out. She, like, told the waiter. I don't think the waiter spoke a lot of English, but I think he kind of got the idea of what was going on. It was cool. It was really cool.
Top 10 moment for you.
For sure.
You kind of have you done a lot of performances? Like I know you did like the I guess the major stage one that you did.
Yeah, like
but as far as like in person with the whole crowd, have you had that experience yet?
I have, yeah. Back in the day, man. Back when we used to have live shows, we
throwback.
Yeah, man. Fuck. We were doing like one show a month in New York. I played it like I had a live band, and it was really cool. It was a 7-piece band, including me. I had like my homie on the keys, my homie on bass, my homie on guitar. I had 2 backup singers and a drummer. And we were playing shows about once a month in New York, and we were playing like progressively bigger venues, and it was cool. It was like kind of like a jam band vibe. Like 2 of them were like super jazz, or 3 of them I guess were like super jazzy, like, you know, real like music theory dudes. So they were, you know, they were easy to play with, and we had a lot of fun. And that got me more comfortable with like stage performance and stuff, which I'm grateful for. Whenever I come back to shows, like I think they are gonna look a lot different than they did back then. In terms of like what my setup is gonna be like, but that experience, like I'm really thankful for it. It was really cool. Like I feel like I've gained a little bit of an upper hand when it comes to like doing shows. Whenever I end up doing shows again, like I've just like I have like a little bit of an advantage from having to do that and like be in front of those like, you know, like 20 people crowds in New York, like at the bar, who were just there to see their friend, and like I'm not their friend, so it's like it gives you like a very like, you know, you have to really win people over. It's funny, like I was a high school teacher for 2 years, like fresh out of college. And so like I was working as a high school teacher in the day and going to the studio at night. And standing in front of a bunch of 15-year-olds at 8 a.m. who like stayed up all night playing Fortnite and like watching like 13 Reasons Why and like Snapchatting each other and shit. And like they do not give a fuck about algebra, about geometry, about US history, whatever it was I was teaching. Like winning those kids over and getting their attention is really similar to playing like a small bar show and winning over the crowd. So it was kind of like I was working on that all the time. I'm really thankful for that, because I think that that ability is going to help me in the future. So, yeah.
Bye. Yeah, you said you were a teacher at one point. What, I guess, during that time, like, did you ever get a chance to do the Zoom thing?
Like Zoom teaching? Yeah. So I didn't, because after my second year, I became a substitute teacher so that I would like focus on music full time. And my school was super supportive, like that I would basically just work, you know, whichever days I wouldn't be in the studio. And so when schools closed, like they didn't have a need for me anymore. Like you don't like substitute on Zoom if like the teacher is sick. Like I think the kids just don't have a teacher that day. I'm not really sure, but I never really did any Zoom stuff. The only Zoom thing I did was I DJ'd my kids' Zoom prom. So like their prom was on Zoom last year, and like I was just playing like Pop Smoke and stuff like on Spotify on my computer, just like from my room, and just like nodding my head. And like
Spotify DJ.
Yeah, there were like 3 kids who were like hanging out in like one of their apartments and just like dancing around in their like prom dresses and shit. It was really funny.
So they had Zoom proms. I didn't know about this.
Yeah, I guess it varied school by school, but yeah, they did a Zoom prom in my school.
Damn. Wow. Yeah. Man, that For you, did you ever have like that experience of like an actual student knowing who you were or knowing your music?
I mean, they didn't like listen to me beforehand, but they all found my music, and yeah, it was inevitable. But I remember I walked in one day to like the math class I was teaching, and there were kids kept asking like, "Oh, don't you make music? What's your music name?" And I just would never tell them. And I did this interview with like my old college newspaper where they used my government name. So the kids Googled that and they were able to find it. One of the kids was smart enough to figure out who I was. And I came in the next day and the other teacher had handed out laptops to the kids. And there were 3 laptops open playing 3 different Hadji songs at once. It was like a fucking nightmare. Like, I was like, oh my God, this is the worst day of my life. Like, and I remember I just would have kids like, they would like raise their hand, you know, when I was trying to get them to answer, and they would just repeat my lyrics back to me. Or like they would like, I had to like stop kids from going up to the aux cord and like plug in and start playing my music in the middle of class. But after like the initial shock value, like they've been really cool. Like they, you know, I've had kids be like, you know, I really want to do this music stuff. Like, can you give me advice? And like, of course, like it's great. Like I love the fact that like kids feel like they can do that with me. And, like they've been really supportive. Like my kids go hard. Like they comment on my YouTube channel. Like they you know are on my Instagram live. So I have to always make sure it's like at least PG-13. Like nothing too crazy. But yeah, it's a really cool experience. I mean, yeah, I'm really thankful for like their support too, and I'm glad to like be a part of their lives as well, even while I'm doing this. You know,
for that, like one of the things that I want to bring up is that I remember, I guess the older I get, like I'm 24 now, right? Mm-hmm. And so the older I get, the more I've been around other people. And I remember knowing a few friends that were actually teachers as well.
Yeah.
And so I remember them telling me about stories of, or I remember being at parties and there'd be like some girl that's like pretty hammered and she's like, oh, I gotta leave because I'm about to go teach. I gotta teach in the morning. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And that really put in perspective of like, damn, in me, at least myself, when I was in school, I never really took the time to, I guess, humanize a teacher.
Oh, absolutely.
And so like nowadays when I'm meeting people that are actually teachers, I'm like, oh shit, like these teachers had lives. Like these teachers were the reason that you fucking had a movie day in school is because this teacher was fucking hungover as fuck. And it's just like crazy.
Or they had a show the night before. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a classic.
And it's just crazy, like thinking like that whole experience. And for you, you're like young. You're pretty young.
I'm 25.
So
we're like about the same
exactly.
age. Yeah.
So you're pretty young. So like when it comes to that, like everyone's like what, like 17, 16, 15?
I mean, my first year I was 21. I had kids who were like 19. You know, like we were like, you know, we could have been in high school at the same time. Like, you know, it's interesting. Yeah, I was being a really young teacher is funny. Like. My school had a pretty young age average for teachers. I was the youngest, but there were some who were the same age as me. I was just like later birthday.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's true. Like teachers have real lives. They go out. They have fun. Like they might be hungover. You know, it really like even just having them as coworkers made me rethink about all my teachers that I had growing up. You know,
exactly.
I had really old teachers in high school. Like for the most part, not like really old, but like older. So it wasn't the same as like I never had a teacher as young as me, I don't think. But it was like, yeah, I mean, it's really funny. Like kids don't think about it at all. They don't really spend a lot of time thinking about like, you know, like what a teacher does. But teachers are just like everybody else, if not even like a little more like wild because they get out of work at like 3 p.m. and the happy hours at like 4. You know what I mean? It's like it's an interesting crowd. Like you go to a bar, like I taught in the Bronx in New York, and like you go to a bar in the Bronx like at like 4 p.m. Like there's like a couple bars you can pick. All the high school teachers have just flooded in. It's wild. They get drunk. They talk shit about all the kids. Like it's funny. It's funny as hell. Like it's really funny. It makes me wonder what my high school teachers would have said about me. Like at the happy hour that they would go to. It's wild.
For you, I remember. I think I saw that you said you were like a straight A student, right, in school.
Yeah, I was. I was like an overachiever kind of kid. Like straight A's. Like good Ivy. Like I went to an Ivy League school. I did the whole thing. Like that was like really what like I spent the first 17 or 18 of my years of my life just being like, this is what I'm supposed to do. So I'm gonna do it. You know, get straight A's, study for the SAT, do well. Like go to some Ivy League school. I did it. I got there and I was like, this is ass. This is fucking stupid. Not that it's stupid. Like, you know, I mean, I had a lot of opportunities that came from that and I'm like really thankful and stuff. But it was like, it definitely like made me realize that I was allowed to try things that were outside of the path. Nobody was really stopping me from doing that. And just being there and like kind of getting a little bit of the choice to like do that, because in America, like the high school system is very like, it's a pressure cooker. It's like, oh, you gotta be finished here in your class and like do this. And I was never even like, there were kids who were pulling their hair out a lot harder than I was probably, but like it sucks, And then you get to college and it's like there's a lot of paths that will take you down the exact same 4 years again, where you're just pressure cookering to get into the next thing, to get into the next thing, to get into the next thing. And I was like, I really think I would serve a better purpose to the world if I like tried to use like my skills and really kind of find a path, to be as like specific as I can in this world. And so once I got there, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna just see what happens, So I definitely have had a little bit of a non-traditional path to being a musician, but I was surprised by how many other people, went to Penn where I went, or like went to like really, really, really crazy nice schools, and then we're like, fuck it, and became a musician. Like it's really interesting.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I feel like that probably helped build the discipline though needed for now.
1000%.
Now that you're a musician, you're like, you have that discipline.
No, for sure. Yeah, I definitely I do think that's like a part of it. And I do think that that's been a helpful thing for me in my career, is just like being like, oh, it's just time to go to the studio for 4 hours again, like, every day. Like, and
because the reality is that at the end of the day, there's no one telling you you have to do anything. It's all up to you and what you want to accomplish. No one's there telling you, hey, wake up today. Like,
everybody's got their own coach in their head, like their own, like, and it probably takes, it can, if you have like real like helicopter parents, it could be them. If you have like a friend you really don't want to let down, it could be them. But like everybody's got that voice in the back of their head, like telling them to do something, and yeah, like I just, I really just have fun doing it. So it's easy to do it,
For you, what pushes you though? Like, what inspires you? What makes you get out of bed in the morning? What makes you go harder every day?
That's a good question. I feel like I like remember specific feelings that artists have given me, from the worlds that they build, and the like, just like hearing a song for the first time, just having your mind blown, and like anticipating an album and being really excited for it, and like just having that trust level in an artist where you're like, yo, I know this is gonna be crazy. I heard the album title and that shit is hard. I'm gonna refresh like whatever shitty music website in 2010 I was using to like find music news, like, because I can't wait to hear more details about Take Care, or like whatever album it was I was anticipating. Like, I just like, that was like, one of the most fun distractions in my life. And no matter where I went, like I was riding on the subway to go somewhere, I was skateboarding to school or something, I always had music playing, like all the time, and it was soundtracking my life. And like, I was really thankful to have that. And like, even if like I'm barely getting started out, but like I still get like the random DM like, yo, your music did this for me, your music did that for me. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. Like, that feeling is enough to keep me going for sure.
You had other people telling you, yo, that's crazy. I went to Tokyo with my ex too.
I literally have had someone say almost the exact same thing. And I was like, that doesn't even make that doesn't even make sense, but I fuck with that. Like, I can't believe you also did that. I don't recommend it. I mean, it was fun, but like, I don't know. It's like an interesting thing that you also did, but yeah, no, for sure. Like, I've had people tell me like really personal shit, and I was like, that's crazy, I know there's artists who are like really, get fans who are really like that. Like in my generation, it was like Kid Cudi. People who are Kid Cudi fans are like, they're like diehard Kid Cudi fans, and so it's like having that experience must be wild. But yeah, I just like, if I can do that for just a couple people, even if my music is like, even if it's just like, it's not like the deepest song and I'm like pouring out my emotions like Kid Cudi or like Joe Budden or something, like, I still want people like to be like, damn, like, I was just like hanging out with my friends and we play this in the background and we just have a good time and it's like sunny outside. That's a great feeling too. Like, and that's just as important, So if I can like do that for people, I'm going to try my best to do a bunch of different things for people, because that's just like the artists I grew up on do that. And that's like what really keeps me like creatively like inspired, is like really mixing shit up and doing different things. But yeah, I want to keep giving people like a good feeling when they hear my music for sure.
Oh yeah, and I think you do great job of like introducing them to your world. At the end of the day, you're building this world for yourself of, I think you have some of the most unique song names. Like, you're probably, if anybody looks up a certain song name, like, I don't think there's any other song for majority of your catalog.
That's true.
And it really brings it down to specific of picturing, like mixing the lyrics and the titles of the songs with your videos, like you really putting them into your own world.
Yeah, man, that's always been, because I've always been inspired by like the world building kind of artists. And so like growing up, that was like I mean, first it was the Kanye Wests and the Pharrells, and then you get into like the Frank Oceans and the Tyler the Creators, and then now, I mean, I see it with like the Gene Dawsons of the world. Like there are artists who are like really, really, really like invested in making their, you know, their whole world and their whole vision make sense. Like Toby Lou was like that a lot for me too. Like super visual. Like you really feel like you understand like the whole picture of what they're going for, and that makes the music stick with me a lot more. And that always did as a listener. So like that's what I'm just trying to like pass that on and return the favor. Like that's the kind of shit that I want to do, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely. For every artist listening right now, like I want to, I guess, give them like some good pointers, you know? Because I feel like a lot of artists don't necessarily talk about the behind the scenes as much as
for sure
I think they could. And for you, how important is it to draw or map out everything that you do ahead of time and be precise with certain things, whether it's release dates, whether it's knowing what color something that you're wearing in a video is, or what color anything is, you know, like just really painting a good, precise image of yourself, representing yourself and who you are. Like how important are all those little details for you?
They're really important. And for sure, like the more prepared you are, the better it is every time. But I think like the most important thing is experience, and the most valuable thing I've gotten is experience. And I would say like you can do a song and like have it be like, you know, okay, and you did a video and the video was like okay, but it was your first music video. And then what you really need to do after that is reflect on what would have made that video look better, what would have made that video easier. What could I have done 2 weeks before that video shoot that would have like made everything make more sense? How can I plan my next one and make that a lot easier? Or like, yo, I did this with my song and like it took me this long to write it, and how can I make that process easier? Or like, you know, people didn't really like it that much. Who can I send it to who's going to be honest with me? Like that kind of stuff. You can build a repertoire over time, and like you don't have to do it right the first time. You definitely don't have to do it right the first time. All you really have to do is do it a little better the second time, every time. And like you can take as much time as you need to do that, but just like try it though. You know, you can always take something down. Like, I mean, there's so many musicians out there. Like, I don't want to say this in like a negative way, because it's not a negative thing at all. Like, you probably won't go viral the first time. So if you delete all evidence of the first song you do, like most people probably won't even notice. Yeah. So do that shit as practice and just keep going. Like, you can keep going. You can, you know, prune and edit your shit as much as you want after, once you've really figured out your shit and you're getting feedback that people think it's working. Like, just try shit and then see what works and then reflect on it. I think is really the most important thing you could do. And just have people you can trust around you. You know, whether it's like people you trust are going to finish your cover art when they say they're going to finish it, or not. I would say, like, you know, or just people who are going to keep it a buck with you when you send them a song. Like, I always say, like, there's two different groups of people I send my songs to. They're like the homies who I send my songs to, who tell me everything is fire, which is great. Like, it's because they're my homies. Like, they're going to like it because they like me, because we're friends, you know? Like, that's great. And then there's the people who are going to keep it a buck and be like, nah, this one is not as good as that one. You don't sound good here. This line is stupid. Redeliver that. You know, they'll probably be nicer about it than I am. But, like, those people are really valuable, too. And you want both of them, because the first group is going to give you the confidence to keep going. The second group is going to give you the feedback that you can use to actually get better. And so both of those things are equally as important, though. So I would say that just having that around is really important. The last thing I would say is, like, do good business, and, like, do good business early. Like, yes, like, your splits matter. Even if you're making, like, $5 a month on DistroKid, like, it does matter that you're giving the producer a fair amount and you're, like, communicating how much you're going to give him, and, like, you are paying him on time, because, like, word travels in both a good direction and a bad direction for you. So, like, if you're, like, not paying your producers, like, that's not going to make other producers want to work with you, you know? And, like, they will talk to each other. Like, they definitely will. And if you are, you know, being, like, honest and communicating well, like, that is also going to travel. People are going to introduce you to other people. People are going to, you know, like, you know, show you some respect and, like, be good to work with and stuff. So I would say, like, that's like really kind of like a first step kind of thing. Like, you absolutely have to do good business, and or at least just be communicative. Like, sometimes you're gonna have to make tough decisions. Like, no doubt, it's a tough business and people are gonna understand or they're not. But, like, either way, like, you have to be, like, genuine and honest about stuff. And if you do that, like, that will follow you. And if you don't, like, that'll also follow you. So just think about which one of those you want to follow you throughout. Because like 99.9% of artists are not good enough to just be a dickhead to everyone and like succeed. There are artists who are good enough to do that, but like chances are it's not you. It's not me either. So it's like I'm not saying that as like a negative thing. Like you have to like, you know, be honest with yourself and be honest with other people and be a good person to work with. And people are gonna keep wanting to work with you, and then you can keep getting better, and then you can keep figuring shit out from there. But it's like if you aren't, you know, doing good business with people, like the trail is gonna end real quick. So you better hope that you can produce, mix, master, write, market, edit, put money into things. There's a lot of people that your stuff is gonna have to go through, and like you better hope you're either doing all those people right or you're doing it all yourself. And chances are, if it's the latter, it's not gonna look that good. So like, you know, just be a good collaborator. I think that's like one of the most important things. Yeah. Even if you're not working with somebody, like be a good homie to other artists. Like it's a community. That's somebody who is gonna understand the highs and the lows that you go through as an artist. Like that's the kind of person you're gonna want to get to know, you know? So I just think like just be a good person. It's like it sounds like simple, but it's like that. I really think that's like the starting point to this stuff, you know?
True. At what point did you? When was the first time you actually started working with other people aside from yourself? Was it very early on, or did it take a while?
It was pretty early on. Like I started working with Mike, who produces a lot of my stuff, in like 2017, and he had mixed. I mean, even before that, like when I was rapping and I was figuring stuff out, like my homie Jerome was like one of my best friends, like from growing up. Like he was producing all my stuff, and like I would take it from there, and then I would go to a studio, and like I still know that engineer, you know, to this day, Jan. And then Jan introduced me to Mike, who mastered my stuff at first, and then after that, like after I got to know him, like I realized how crazy of a producer he was. I was like, bro, we need to just sit down and write songs together. So we did that for like almost a year before we really started putting stuff out that was like getting traction and stuff. But you know, it took a while to build that up, and we still work together to this day. Like every one of those people, like I still work with, you know, to some extent or like in some capacity. And it's like, you know, all these people are people too. So it's like, just like, you know, collaboration is really important. It's also the most fun part to me. Like I love working with other artists. I love working with new producers. I love working with like different visual artists and stuff. It's like, man, like this is the best part, is like you get to like just build a community of creative people and just have fun. It's like, why would that not be the best part of this, you know?
True. Jugu has been like the first song to actually like, I guess get the most traction, right, for you. Before that, like what was the point where you were like, all right, like I'm actually going somewhere with this, or I can actually do something with this? Like did it come a lot before that, or did it come after that? When
it came around that. Yeah. I want to say, like, I remember writing Hair Jugu. So Hair Jugu came out in October 2018. I wrote it in April 2018. And I remember the morning that me and Mike wrote that, I was like, yo, this is kind of hard. You know, like I was like, this is actually pretty dope. But I didn't really have a great concept of what was going to be successful and what wasn't going to be successful. And so, like, I had my own idea for this album that I was doing, and it was a part of it, and I knew it was going to be track 2, but like I didn't really think about what's a single and what's not a single, what's going to do well, what's not going to do well. It was like the streaming era was like just kind of starting, and I didn't really understand how that worked yet. And I didn't know if it was going to be a single. I was planning these video shoots for these other songs that I don't know, I guess I liked more or whatever. But I did a show, I want to say April 2018. No, it must have been like June 2018. And my friend Ange was there, and I played her Jugu, and Ange was like, yo, that should be a single. You should do a video for that. And I was like, okay. Like I trusted her. She has a good ear. So I was like, that's probably true. Shout out to Ange, because she was totally right. I went and I didn't do the video yet, but I had an idea for it, kind of. I just started talking to this guy. Well, I knew this guy Kyle for a minute. He actually produced that song Transmission. But he runs his blog Fashionably Early. They were talking about distributing songs for me, and he was like, send me like a couple songs. I sent him a couple songs. He picked Harajuku out of those. Should have been a good sign, because he has a great ear too. And so we did that one. And that was the first one that did really well. And then I had people emailing me from labels and all that shit. I had no comprehension of how anything in the music industry worked. I learned pretty quickly, but that was the first song that gave me like the reinforcement, like, yo, this could be real. I wish that I had it earlier and that it didn't take the external validation for me to feel that way, but it did. So like, I'm not gonna like lie and say that I knew from the beginning it was gonna be like that. I just kept working until I really felt it. But that was a good turning point for me. Yeah.
Nice. So you just got that blue check mark, maybe what was it, like a month ago or something?
I want to say 2 months ago, maybe by now. Yeah, about 2 months ago. It was probably about February or March, like early March. Mm-hmm. No, I think it was February.
For you,
maybe it was March. I have no idea. I'm gonna be honest.
For you, what was that experience like? And also, I guess if you could talk about a little bit of what it actually has done for you, and also like for everybody thinking that automatically once you get a blue check your life is completely amazing, you're a millionaire now, all of a sudden like everything's perfect.
Keep it a buck. I'll keep it a buck with everything that's come since the blue check. The first thing that comes when you get the blue check is people asking how you got the blue check. Obviously,
you got a bunch of people DMing you that?
It comes with the congratulations. There's tiers to it. There's like, yo, congrats. There's, yo, congrats, how did you do that? And then there's just straight up, how did you do that? Like I've had random people that have never interacted with me before DM me and ask me how I got a blue check, and like thinking that I can help them. Like, bro, I wish. I applied like fucking 15 times before I got it. Like it just be like that. Like, I'm sorry. That's the first step of getting a blue check. I would say like, I don't know if it helps me get shows. I don't know if it helps me get producers. Like, I don't know. It's hard to say because that's always on someone else, you know, and like, I do definitely think there's like a level of validation you get from just like that. Like people see the blue check and they think you're legitimate. It kind of sucks that it takes that. But I definitely I do notice like if I go for an ambitious follow, I probably get the follow back. It's like more likely now with the blue check than it was before, but it's still not perfect. Don't get me wrong. And it's just like, I don't know. It's funny. I think the funniest thing that happens is once you get a blue check, you start getting these DMs in your requests that are like, if you don't click this link, we're going to take your blue check away. And it's like a phishing scam. So if you click on it, like they take your account number and then they just change your account to like some dude in Russia and he like just, uses your shit. Damn. So really the only thing that's changed since I got a blue check is a bunch of people trying to scam me out of my blue check. But it's funny. It's interesting how like it's perceived. Like it's another thing that's like, it's a step that's like kind of superficial, it's like getting a Spotify editorial playlist, like, or getting a write-up from like a blog that like your friends who aren't musicians would be familiar with. Like, I don't want to name names, but like there's like certain things that like if you're like trying to prove to people, like the people who be like, oh, you make music now, like they'll be like, oh, you make music now, like when they see that, you know what I mean? But that's never been the goal. Like I know it feels good because I've been there, like, but like you got to keep focused on like the path of like making music. When someone hears your song on Spotify, they don't give a fuck if you have a blue check or not. Like, if it's fire, it's fire. They're going to save it. They're not going to save it. So, like, the only thing I try to stay focused on is, like, just making more music that people are going to be like, who the fuck is this guy? And then follow me. Like, I do think, like, there's a lot of people who, like, when, like, this was, like, the OG. It's not really backhanded because I don't think they mean it in a negative way, but, like, people will DM you like, how the fuck are you not famous? It's like, thanks, bro.
Thanks, bro.
I'm trying.
Thanks for reminding me.
I don't know if I really want to be famous anyway, but it's like, it's like, it's funny. Like, it's just a funny thing. It's like just another funny thing that it comes with the path of being a musician. And so in my 2 months of having it, like, I don't know if I've really used it to its fullest extent. I'm not like a crazy like DM slider or anything like that. Maybe I should try that though. I kind of want to try it just not because I want it to work, just because I want to see what would happen. You know what I mean?
Have you had that girl, your crush in high school, hit you up like, hey, how's it going? I haven't seen you in a minute.
I can't answer that. Nah, I mean, people have been really cool about it though, so it's cool. But there are like the random people who are like, how did you do that?
Yeah, for
and,
you.
Like, I don't really have like a rule book, but if you really want legitimate advice on how to get a blue check, like, one of the things that helps the most is being in like a print publication. So if you can find your way into a print publication, like that's a good thing for your application. Just so you know.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
But for you, how do you define success? What does success look like to you?
I mean, there's a bunch of different ways to quantify it. Like, if I'm running this as a full-time job, like, I would consider that successful. That's not where I want the road to end. You know what I mean? Like, I really do want to make this thing as big as I can. But if I'm like, if I have like a wife and kids and I'm putting like my kid through school, like from music and like paying for things from music and like I don't have to do other things like to be like comfortable financially, like then yeah, that's successful, man. That's mad successful. Like that percentage rate of success, like in the music world, is just like already like you're in like the 99.999% percentile of people who make music. So like that is success, and like you should pat yourself on the back if you get there. I'm not there yet, but like I do think like, you know, if I keep working, I hopefully will be. And then I think like the other side of success is just like you have this vision, you set out to do it. How well and how close did you get to executing it? And did you take that vision, you know, take notes on it and then like try again and get a little closer? Like that's also success too. So I think there's like two sides to success. There's the personal fulfillment, and then there's like society's rules for success. I don't think it makes a lot of sense to pretend like one of them doesn't exist and the other one doesn't exist. Because you can be a really unhappy musician who's financially successful, and you can also be a really fulfilled musician who still has to go work a 9 to 5. And I kind of want to, you know, avoid the downsides of both of those ideally, you know, but it's hard. Like, but again, I think it comes with like doing things on your own terms and like being smart about the business decisions you enter in and like valuing yourself correctly. And like, that makes me sound like I'm like on the Joe Budden podcast talking about like ownership and shit. But like, I mean, that shit is real. So it's like, you really do want to like, you know, value yourself correctly and be good at taking advice from people and, you know, just keep building slowly. Like, there's a great like Earl Sweatshirt tweet that goes viral on Twitter like every once in a while. It's like, you know, like avoid the, you know, the temptation of the viral moment because like karma will swing back on you really hard. I've never had the viral moment, so I don't know if that's actually true, but it seems kind of true, you know? And I like the slow build. It's nice, you know? So I would say just, you know, follow your own path for success, and things will work out for you if you work hard.
Facts. If you could go back and give 15-year-old you some advice, what would it be?
Probably like download Ableton. I didn't get into music production until a little later, and I was super into music, and I probably had the time in high school too, and I just like didn't really know about Ableton. I thought it was like super like a high learning curve, which maybe it is, but like if I had given myself like a little space to do it, I think I would have been a lot further along in like my music production journey, which like I do like, you know, I still do a little bit and like I'm working on it, but it's definitely not like my like primary skill. I would focus on that more for sure. Honestly, I wouldn't change too much about the path that I took because I do think I learned a lot about myself along the way. And I would still want the 15-year-old me to learn those things. But I do think getting my hands a little dirtier in the music world would have been nice at a younger age because it was possible back then too. And if I had just like gotten into like the technical stuff a little earlier, I think that would have been good. But besides that, no, like I really don't have too much advice. Like, you know, take criticisms with a grain of salt, but like learn from them. But then also like fuck those people. You know, like it's a little bit of both. Just walk the line and be smart about shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we go, as we wrap things up, is there any last words you want to say to everybody watching right now?
I appreciate you watching. I hope you check out my music and like it. There's a lot of stuff on the way.
Where can people follow you at?
They can follow me on Instagram, Hadji Gaviota, HADJIGAVIOTA. It's the same on TikTok. It's the same on Twitter. It's the same on Facebook. If you use Facebook, I don't know. You'd be surprised. Like I get Facebook messages sometimes, and I'm like, bro, who is messaging me? But yeah, whatever platform you use on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Deezer. I don't know what Deezer is, but all my music gets distributed there too, I think. So Deezer. Yeah, anywhere, man. Like I'm here. I check my DM requests. Say what's up. It'll be annoying, but say what's up. I'll just screenshot you and close friends you if you're annoying, but I'll still probably answer. Yeah, like, yeah, man, just reach out. I appreciate everybody who's tapped in on this. I appreciate you for having me on, obviously, man. Big time. Shout out to the city of Los Angeles. It's beautiful. Like, it's kind of like a cheat code to life. Like, bro, look, you can't really see it from the camera, but like, just trust me, man. That shit is crazy. Yeah, man.
If there's one song that, for everybody, on a closing note, one song for anybody to check out, anybody watching right now, which song of yours would you tell
I really want to say the next one, but I don't know when it's going to be out, so I can't. So in that case, if I had to give you one song to check out by me, I would probably say 4049 Spruce. I think is like the closest to like the Hadji core as anything that's come out recently. Probably that, or Harajuku, or Runner's High. Those are the 3 I would give.
Awesome. Well, honestly, I appreciate you for coming.
Of course, man.
Coming through and being on here for everybody. Make sure you guys go subscribe to him, go save him on your Spotify playlist, do all that. And now until next time, honestly, like make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and just stay tuned for everything on the way.
Big facts. Peace, y'all.
Peace.